Hello, I'm Ania Lichtarowicz and this is Somewhere on Earth, your weekly look at technology and its impact on our everyday lives. It is Tuesday, the 21st of July 2026. Welcome to the Global Tech Podcast. Coming up today. This week, two very different technologies tackling two very human problems. As cities grow and become more crowded, we're increasingly building downwards, constructing tunnels beneath roads, buildings and entire neighbourhoods. But the ground beneath us can be unpredictable and a collapse can threaten workers, infrastructure and the people living above. One Brazilian company is using artificial intelligence to bring together huge amounts of geological and construction data and predict potential problems during tunnel excavation before they happen. And then from the dangers beneath our cities to the worries that keep parents awake at night. What do you do when your baby has a high temperature at 3 o'clock in the morning? Google it, ask an AI chatbot, or try to find a doctor. One healthcare company is using WhatsApp to connect parents with real pediatricians, even in communities with limited internet access, while using AI behind the scenes to help those doctors work more efficiently. Two stories about tech, prediction and access, all on Somewhere on Earth, where technology meets humanity. As the world population grows, cities are becoming increasingly crowded, and that is putting pressure on urban planners to look underground for new space. Tunnels can provide vital infrastructure for transport, water and utilities without taking up valuable space at the surface. But building beneath a busy city is a huge engineering challenge. The ground below us is rarely uniform. Geological conditions can change quickly. Groundwater can enter excavation sites, and removing huge amounts of earth can affect the stability of the surrounding ground. In built-up areas, the consequences can be serious. Roads and buildings above can be damaged, infrastructure can be disrupted, and in the worst cases, a collapse can put workers and the public at risk. The problem is that tunnel construction generates enormous amounts of data, from geological surveys and sensors to information about the tunnel boring machine and the surrounding environment. But that information is often spread across different teams and systems, making it difficult to see the full picture in real time. One Brazilian company is using artificial intelligence to bring all of that information together and predict potential problems up to 7 days before they happen. At Web Summit Rio, I spoke to David Mendy from GeoProd, the company behind GeoRisco, about using AI to make tunnel construction safer and to help prevent damage before it happens.
I'm David Mendy from GeoProd. GeoProd are development of GeoRisco. GeoRisco is the first geological risk mapping 24/7 for analyze the risks during tunnel excavation.
So as the world's population increases, cities get busier, they get more crowded. One great solution is to build underground tunnels for transportation, but there are risks involved. Tell me, what are the risks when building tunnels at the moment?
Okay, the principal risk is that we are too much information, but the information is sketched, is isolated in any teams, and it's hard to know the behavior of the tunnel and the underground, and this problem generate damage in the structure and in the city. So we use all sketched information for create a synchronized databases and use our predictor model by artificial intelligence and predict the possibility of damage in the future and use for try that don't happen.
So there is at the moment when projects are being run, the data is there, but it is scattered all over the company. So One group of engineers will have some data, another team will have some more data, and you bring all that information together.
Exactly. This is our case. We use all this information and create one unified based data, and with this create a predicting model.
And that's what you've done. You've created an algorithm that takes that data and predicts in the future, a few days, 5 days, 7 days, so quite soon in the future, if there is a greater risk of a tunnel collapse.
Yes, we established 7 days, because 7 days in a tunnel construction is a huge window for anticipate the problem and try to solve this problem.
So you go to a company and you go to the project director and say, you guys have got to think about how you're tunneling, because we think there's going to be a tunnel collapse in a week unless you change something. Is that how it works?
Well, until now, the situation is tell the alert situation for the teams involved and try that these teams involved change the parameters or the methodology for try to prevent the problem. And in these next steps, these other teams take the safety and time to use the information.
And this obviously can have a huge impact, because if there is a tunnel collapse, we're talking potential risk to life, obviously risk to infrastructure because the ground is falling in. You've got to stop the work. There's huge costs involved, and there's a cleanup operation. So how important is this algorithm that you've developed?
Okay, it's important in two ways. The first way, because save life, save time in the tunnel construction, and in another way, save money, because this damage, this time waste for stopping this construction generate more monies go to the waste for the time stopped.
And where have you actually implemented this?
We are implemented in the Sao Paulo Metro. Is our first success case, and right now try to implement in another building tunnel construction.
So this is Line 6 that is now operating safely, and it has passengers on it in Sao Paulo. And you achieved quite a reduction in these surface impacts in these collapses, didn't you?
We have a 25% of reduction in the impacts on the superfice, and we have a reduction for the time of stopping of the TVN machine, the tunnel boring machine, in the excavation.
So you had a win-win situation there. I assume the project was therefore finished faster and cheaper.
Exactly. This is a win-win situation. Try don't stop and go faster in the construction, and more important, go safety.
It is 3 o'clock in the morning. Your baby has a very high temperature. You have already given them medicine, but they are still crying. Do you wait? Do you go to hospital? Do you give them more medication or a different one? Or do you simply turn to the internet and ask Google, or increasingly AI? For parents and caregivers, these questions are part of everyday life, but getting reliable medical advice is not equally easy for everyone. In many parts of the world, there may be no doctor nearby. There may be long waits for medical care, a lack of pediatricians, or simply no easy way to know whether a child's symptoms are something to monitor at home or an emergency. One health technology company is trying to provide parents with a pediatrician in their pocket through a technology many people already use every day: WhatsApp. The idea is to combine the accessibility of messaging with the expertise and empathy of real pediatricians. Artificial intelligence is used behind the scenes to help doctors manage information and reduce administrative work, but the conversation itself is with a human. Dr. Natalie Cano is founder and CEO of DocoKids. The Colombian company aims to make paediatric healthcare more accessible and also trustworthy.
So as many parents have lived, or grandparents or caregivers, you're 3 a.m., it's the baby has a fever and you don't know whether to go to the emergency room, to stay at home, to give him a medication, not give him a medication. All these questions are constants in parenthood. And what we do in DocoKids is we answer those questions, and we answer them through WhatsApp. And why WhatsApp? Because that's something that everyone has access to, even with a very low bandwidth internet.
So it's easily accessible and accessible by many people. Most people, though, usually do turn to Google. Everyone says, oh, I'll ask Dr. Google. Now to AIs like ChatGPT or Claude. What is it about DocuKids that makes your approach different?
I love that question. First of all, we have real pediatricians. So we do use AI in the back end, like meaning that we use the technology to make our pediatricians more efficient, to make the payment and everything very efficient. So all that admin work, oh, we don't know if your payment went through, all that, it goes behind the scenes. And when you talk, you're talking to a real pediatrician, perhaps a mother sometimes, that's also a pediatrician. So there's that empathy, but there is also that context that often AI or Google doesn't know, because with AI, it depends on the quality of the prompt or with the question in Google. But here we have way more context that is nuance, and in pediatric, everything is nuance. In pediatrics, nothing is 2 + 2 is never 4 in pediatrics. So in DocoKids, what we do is we have real humans helping real humans and little humans as well.
Everyone helping each other. So
yes.
But talk to me how this all works, though. So imagine that, 2 a.m., a baby starts crying, really high fever. I've given them some paracetamol, maybe even some ibuprofen. Baby isn't settling. I go to DocoKids. What happens?
So you do a payment, which is very fast. Usually within less than 3 minutes, you're talking with us. So once you do the payment, you get a message through your WhatsApp that says, hey, welcome to DocoKids, here's a pediatrician. And you get us in a pediatrician in less than 30 minutes. That's our promise. And you start having a fluid conversation, as if you had me as a pediatrician in your pocket. So I'm going to ask you, what have you done? And you tell me, for example, oh, I just given it 10 minutes ago. And so I'm going to explain, hey, it takes time for that. AI probably will tell you, oh, if it's not working, you have to rush to the ED. But there is a timing that's very important there, and that's the nuance, right? So I just gave you like a help, and then we finish the conversation, and then we do a follow-up. And so maybe in 6 hours, or depending what we consider, you'll get a follow-up, and I'll be like, hey, how is your child? And you can be and continue that conversation with me. So it's a fluid conversation. And like when you go to a doctor, you close that door and you never see that doctor again unless you get another appointment. With us, it's a fluid conversation, and you can ask, and that morning maybe you're asking yourself, is this a good toothpaste to use with my baby? Should I have fluoride or not? And you can ask us that as well at the same time as asking about fever. So it's a fluid conversation through WhatsApp, as when you speak with any friend. And that is what makes us different. It's being with a human and talking to a friend.
And that's it. WhatsApp is very trusted, particularly in Latin America. It's absolutely everywhere. People use it to run entire businesses and to see their doctors. So it is very, very trusted, and it's a known thing. So it makes people feel more comfortable, I guess.
Yeah, it's in the core of our business. So we go to all rural areas, and WhatsApp already, it doesn't have a learning curve. If I give an app to a family, I'm expecting that their cell phone has space for that app, and they have the internet connection for that app to run. WhatsApp uses very low internet, right? So for example, there's a region in Colombia where I've been, and they have access to internet, access to WhatsApp, but they don't have drinkable water. So that's how much WhatsApp is reaching vulnerable populations. In fact, we're starting a project right now where we're going to be helping around 5,000 families just hit by the Venezuelan earthquake. And the reason why we can do it so quickly is because we don't need to ask these families to download another app or do something else. They already have WhatsApp in their phone.
So everything is easily accessible.
Yeah.
But AI is playing a role in healthcare, particularly in places where there are such huge inequalities. How do you see AI being used in the future with Doco Kids?
So we're starting to use it. So I'm talking about WhatsApp because that's what you as a mother or what any consumer as a client would see. But behind the scenes, what we manage everything on our own platform that's called DocuChat. And we use AI, for example, to make the summaries of the conversations, right? So that task alone used to take the pediatricians 4 minutes per conversation. We're having around 8,000 conversations a month. So when we reduce 4 minutes to 1 minute, we're really reducing, or 30 seconds, we're really reducing that burden, like admin burden to the pediatrician. So there's a lot of helpful insight AI can give us. What else are we using? AI, for example, can connect previous conversations with this one. So it's the third time they've asked about fever in this month. So that raises a flag, right? And that's where AI can be helpful. It can be helpful analyzing this data behind the scenes. Or if you have a population right now, for example, now that we're going to go in with Venezuelan families, we're going to analyze as a group what they're asking and everything. And this can provide information not only for this disaster, but for further disasters on what pediatricians need to be prepared for. So that's where AI is very clear and very specific. Or, for example, double checking certain things. But front to front, is it really where you want to talk? Do you want to talk to a human, or do you really want to talk to a robot that you're not sure if it's giving you the correct information and it's understanding all the context where you are from? So that's where we divide the line.
So it's kind of giving you a helping hand, and a significant helping hand, not only with the admin, but it's those really time-consuming duties with doctors, isn't it? The reading the medical history or asking the mother again, saying, now, when did this problem first start? And they go back 6 months, and you're just like, oh gosh, but the pediatrician will have a little summary that says, this patient has been seen by so-and-so, and this is what we found, this is what treated, and it's quick and it's simple. It will save doctors so much time, won't it?
Exactly. And for example, voice notes, right? We love voice notes in Latin America, and we tend to be very lengthy, but sometimes helping the pediatrician identify the key things about the voice notes also helps us with that time. So the more efficient we are with our pediatricians, the more access we can give them, the more people we can reach.
Brilliant. Now, moving on to the Cartier Awards, tell me a little bit about that. First of all, tell me about the start of your journey. How did you hear about it? Why did you decide to apply?
I heard about it like 2-3 years ago, and I received the newsletters. And here's a tip for any entrepreneur listening to this. In their newsletters, they have an Airtable with a lot of grants that is so useful to have. So I kept on looking, but I was like, this feels impossible. Like, this woman feel impossible to reach. And last year, as I was pregnant, my then co-founder, she told me we should apply to this. You should apply to this. You're the perfect candidate. And I didn't really believe it at the time. But as we applied and have passed, because this is a lot of rounds and a lot of due diligence, and so I've kept going, I was like, maybe? But then I was like, there's no way. The last interview, I had just moved. It's one of those days that you're an entrepreneur. There's a lot of things also going on in your life. And I was like, there's no way. That pitch, I was so nervous. That didn't go as well as sometimes it goes. And there I got the email. And opening that email, it came in like that perfect moment, because I was with my whole team in a meeting, and I literally cried because I had my baby. My baby was premature. It was very stressful, like all those months. And it was an affirmation that, well, actually what we were doing was seen and like someone wanted to give us voice, and that's very, very important when you're an entrepreneur. So yeah, it has been very, very special, and I've been very honored. And it has been an amazing journey that I recommend anyone that's hesitating to apply.
Dr. Natalia Cano, a winner of the Cartier's Women Initiative Award 2026, and we will be hearing more about how she has already benefited from the award in the Pod Extra. There's also another news story there too about AI and upcycling in Brazil. Do please search for Somewhere on Earth podcast, pod.fan. And you can subscribe for ad-free and extra long soap episodes for $10 a month. A huge thank you to those listeners who are already doing this. It keeps the show on the road. And that is all for this edition of Somewhere on Earth, the Global Tech Podcast. I'm Ania Lichtarowicz. Until next week. Bye-bye.